We didn't always watch football at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Protect the football. Buffalo Wild Wings. Football the way it should be.
Welcome to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coach's Corner here at the Hoopsville National Invitational Classic. I'm your Hoopsville guest, Dave McHugh, and I'm joined by yet another coach here at the Classic. This one is Nathan Davis from Randolph-Macon. Coach, first off, welcome to the season and welcome to the Hoopsville Classic.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's been an exciting tournament. It's been very well won, and we are excited for the opportunity today.
Well, thank you for coming. I know this was kind of the second part of a really tough three-game start to the season for you guys. You start with Christopher Newport, who received votes in the top 25. We then reward you with a game last night against Transylvania, ranked in the top 25, and then we reward you again with a team in St. Mary's today, ranked in the top 25. But I get a sense from a lot of the coaches I've talked to here, and even chatting with you, there isn't anything necessarily wrong with starting off with a challenge.
No, I think that if you're going to find out where you are and what you need to improve on, you got to play people that are good and will be able to challenge you. And certainly with Christopher Newport, Transylvania, and St. Mary's today, we will have an idea when we leave here of the things and areas we need to improve on greatly, and have a chance to go back this week and get better.
And interestingly enough, we'll talk about the conference a little bit more, but out of conference, as you will lead into right now, is you do play in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, considered one of the toughest in Division III at this point in men's basketball. But you aren't shying away the rest of your out-of-conference schedule either.
No, I'm a big believer. I learned it from Coach Nolan, who I learned a lot from at Randolph-Macon as a player, is that you don't want to play the best. You don't want the best team you play necessarily be the best team in your league every year. When you got Virginia Wesleyan, Hampton-Sydney, and those schools, and Guilford, it's hard to find teams that are at that level, and so you got to go out and play people. And so we want to go out and challenge ourselves so that the first time we see that type of competition is not the first time we play them.
Interesting enough, Hampton-Sydney sitting right behind you in the top 25 in the preseason poll, at least. Virginia Wesleyan sitting at number 2 in the top 25 poll, and the ODAC's always famous for having a few other quote-unquote sleepers, or ones we just couldn't get into the poll. Eastern Mennonite comes to mind as well, and there'll certainly be some other tests. Before you get to the ODAC, though, how ready do you think you need to be?
We need to be playing at a high level to compete in our league. We feel like our league is, and every league's excellent. We think our league has some qualities that make it a step above a lot of other people. You look at the depth in our league. Washington Lee's picked 8th in the league. They returned their entire starting lineup from a team last year. Plus, they brought back a player that was out all year with injury that would have been a starter last year. Just kind of a summary of the quality of the depth we have in our league. Eastern Mennonite was picked 6th. They have their entire team back, plus a transfer coming in. So you got to be playing at a high level to get there. And it's a long season. It's only November, so the wins and losses. The wins are certainly great. You want to win them all. Don't get me wrong. You want to win every game you play, and you want to compete. But you want to make sure that along the way, whether you're winning or losing, you are keeping to get better, so that you can be peaking at the right time and have a chance to win.
And a new dimension to the ODAC as well. You bring in Shenandoah, which means you have an extra set of, or at least one extra game in the ODAC. If anyone's unfamiliar, they play a bit of an unbalanced schedule, though they are not a split conference. Randolph with Clay Nunley is always tough. Eastern Mennonite, Hampton-Sydney, Virginia Wesleyan. You mentioned Washington and Lee. Yourselves. And we're leaving out some good schools here who are Guilford. Yeah, we could just keep on going with this list. It's an anyone's game scenario for the ODAC. And really, one slip can you put you in a spot in the tournament later that can really make it tough.
Right. Well, the main problem with the ODAC is there aren't any nights off. Right. If you don't show up and play well, you are going to get beat by anyone you play. They're all well coached. They all have talented players. There'll be guys that are on teams that finish 10, 11, 12. That'll be first team only guys that are that talented. And so if you have a bad night and you're not ready to play a certain night, you will be in trouble. And so hopefully we'll be learning now through our non-conference schedule. I think we've challenged ourselves. We mentioned these 3 games we start out with. We're going to Ferrum, who's always going to be tough on the road next week. We dive into 2 league games. We have Catholic. We're playing the Catholic.
By the way.
Just beat Transylvania by 20 and St. Mary's by 20 this week. We got Salisbury coming in, who just won 2 games this weekend up at Lycoming. So we're going to be challenged, and hopefully we will be battle tested. And when we get into league play and get in the heart of the schedule, we'll have been through all those things you need to see. We'll have all those experiences, and we'll be a better team for it down the road. Taking
yourselves out of the equation in the conference, which you technically had to do in the preseason, voting for the top teams. Who do you think are the top teams, and then who do you think may surprise?
Well, I think you got to start with Virginia Wesleyan. With what Dave McHugh's done down there has been amazing. He's won almost 80% of his games, I think, over 12 years now. He's always a player nationally. He's won a national championship, been to multiple Final Fours. He's won multiple ODAC championships. They have 4 to 5 starters back. You know they're going to have talented guys that brought him behind them. So I think you start out with them. I'll be honest, I think Hampton-Sydney is as talented team as you're going to see across the entire country. I felt that way. Last year, they're 4 or 5 deep with all league players inside. They've got guards that can make shots that are all 6'4", 6'5", so they provide another set of problems. So that's why they were picked 1 and 2 in the league. We mentioned a little bit about Eastern Mennonite. They struggled a little bit early last year that they were so young. And started to figure it out at the end of the year, and we won 21 games, and they took us to overtime in the quarterfinals, and we beat them twice at the buzzer. So I think you got to keep an eye on them. You mentioned Guilford with Tom Palumbo. He's been in the final. Another guy's been in the Final Four twice. He's like every team I talk about.
I know we're just keep rattling it off.
Has been in the Final Four, but he's got a guy with Josh Pittman that was first team All-League 2 years in a row. He's got the Rookie of the Year coming back inside. So whenever you have a guard like that and a postman like that, you're going to provide problems as well. Plus, he's an outstanding coach, and the list goes along with what Hillary Scott's done in Lynchburg, taking them from the bottom to last year. They finished 7-7. He's got, again, he might have one of the better. He's got one of probably 2 or 3 better point guards in the league. He's got a big man with Austin Shilome that can score on anybody. So again, they provide you problems. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
And you can't sleep on a Roanoke. You can't sleep even on a Shenandoah, though they're rebuilding and brand new to the league.
Right, Shenandoah, Rob Pryor, I think, has done a really good job. He's brought in a bunch of good players and kind of changing the way they were doing things there. Roanoke, when you're talking about Paige Moyer, they're picked 11th, I think, preseason. He's the all-time winningest coach in the ODAC history. Right. So there's nothing that you can't take anything for granted. You got to be ready to go every night, and that's what we're striving to be.
Let's go back to the Yellow Jackets. A storied program. I mean, when you talk about playoffs, you talk about the tournaments, you talk about story programs, the Wittenbergs, the Worcesters, but Randolph-Macon comes up into the conversations as well. But interesting enough, last year was a 3rd straight NCAA tournament berth for only the 2nd time in school history. You almost kind of take it for granted, but it's not something to take for granted. It's almost like the program has to still fight.
Right. We actually were talking to our guys about this last night. It's hard to win. It's just, it doesn't matter who it are, what level it is. It's hard to win a game against anybody, and you got to be ready to go. You got to have the mental attitude ready. You got to have the desire and the sense of urgency all the time to be successful. And we've had that over the years. We won 20 games 5 years in a row. You mentioned that we won 20 games 5 years in a row. Only 3 of those times that we get in the NCAA tournament just happened to be 3 years in a row. But those 2 teams that also won 20, they were pretty good too.
Right.
And just with the way Division III is constructed and getting in the tournament, it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
It's hard to get in. You don't have a lot of leeway. You got to be playing well. You got to take advantage of opportunities when they get there and be playing well at the end so you can do well in your tournament.
With the team that you have, obviously we don't know the outcome against St. Mary's as we take this. What does this team need to do from the X's, not necessarily the X's and O's, but from an internal point of view? What does this team need to do to be successful this year, whether you come out of this 0-2 or 0-3 to start the season or 1-2 to start the season?
Well, I think the first thing is, I mentioned a minute ago, is urgency. You got to have a certain urgency every time you take the floor. The better the teams are, the smaller your margin for error. As we lost a game at Christian Newport the other day by 7. We lost last night by 2. You're talking about 4 possessions. You're 4 possessions from being 2-0 against 2 very good teams away from home. So that's the first thing we got to understand. We got to understand we have to have better ability to handle adversity. I think we can't let stuff pile up. We have the first 2 games we've had longer stretches where we played poorly than we need to, and I certainly think there's things I can do. We're going to try to change up a little bit to try to help them along in that respect. But if we can get the sense of urgency and the concentration to not have as many lapses, I think we'll be tough to beat. I think when we get out going and we're feeling good about ourselves and guys are playing freely, we got guys who can make shots, we got guys who can drive, we got guys who can throw in the post, we have point guards that are very good. So we got to start putting it all together. There's a lot of the intangible stuff. It's the value of possessions, the limiting guys to 1 shot so that you don't end up playing defense for so long. I think last night Transylvania took 15 more shots than us. It's hard to beat a good team that gets that many more shots than you. So we've got to do a better job at that respect, and that will allow us to, I think, perform at a better level.
He's Nathan Davis from Randolph-Macon, and Coach, you were a pretty darn good player for the Yellow Jackets, one of the best probably for the program. Now you're coaching in your 4th year, your alma mater. Is that special? Does that have a little bit of extra burden to it, maybe?
I think it's an honor. I think that it would be more of a burden if we didn't have the resources to be good. I think our president is very committed to being successful. Our athletic director is. I think the school and the alumni are themselves, and so they've given us the resources to be successful. And it's a tremendous honor when you talk about the program. I'm the 4th coach in the last 56 years that the school felt they could entrust me with the program to continue to do a good job and put forth a good product and a product that can compete, hopefully to win our league every year is what we're trying to do. And I mean, it's quite an honor to be the person that they selected to have a chance to do that.
As we wrap up here, the tradition on Hoopsville is always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be listening?
Well, I think it's certainly Division III basketball is certainly exciting. I think the quality of play has gotten better. I think back to 15 years ago. Yeah, it's been 15 years since I played. The quality of play, and speaking specifically of the ODACs, I see them more. It's so high. that it's a product that people should get out and see. Continue to support the athletes. They're doing things the right way. They're just as committed as everybody else, and they give their heart and soul to their school and their program. And that's something to be proud of. It's very special.
Well said. Well said. That's been another installment of the Buffalo Wild Wings Coach's Corner here at the Hoopsville National Invitational Classic.